Good morning, everyone. I am Razel May A. Montecillo, and I will be discussing about fear management. But first, let me ask you a question. Do you have fear? You, me, or other people, we all live in constant fear, sometimes without even realizing it. Fear is one of the most basic human emotions. It is an intensely unpleasant emotion in response to perceiving or recognizing a danger or threat. Feeling afraid is very natural. It is a powerful force that lives inside you and governs your every action, whether you like it or not. When your breathing and heartbeat gets very fast, maybe it feels irregular, muscles feel weak or you sweat more, the stomach is churning or your bowels feel loose, hard to concentrate on anything else, you feel dizzy or frozen to the spot, you can't eat, you've got hot and cold sweats, dry mouth and tense muscles, these are all some of the symptoms that you were in a state of fear. Now, let's talk about the common types of fears. According to surveys, some of the most common fears are of demons, ghosts, the existence of evil powers, cockroaches, spiders, snakes, heights, water, enclosed spaces, tunnels, bridges, needles, social rejection, flying heights, failure, examinations, and public speaking, right? But I will only discuss some of the common types of fears. Starting with the fear of death. Psychologists have addressed the hypothesis that fear of death motivates religious commitment and that it may be alleviated by assurances about an afterlife. It is a well-known truth that we all, in the end, will kick the bucket, or we all have to die. But that doesn't mean we have death as our worst everyday worry, because we avoid the thought of it as a near future occurrence in our lives. Yes, who among us don't have chills even to the thought of it? But we must all remember that death is inevitable, it cannot be avoided, so we must learn to live life to the fullest. And of course, we must put our trust to the Supreme Being who knows what lies ahead. Now, the second one is the fear of losing freedom. The fear of losing your freedom has always been present in human minds because even though it is not something that we think about every single moment, it has given us times of deep thought and wonder at what would happen if we were to lose the power to control our own lives. So that is why some people don't want to get married or they're afraid of commitments because of their fears of losing freedom for themselves. Failure. The main fear of failing comes with the disappointment that follows. That feeling that despite your effort, nothing seemed to go as you wished it did. And it causes a feeling such that you might not even want to try again. Loneliness. The fear of being alone is that dreadful feeling of emptiness caused by the absence of interaction with another human being. This fear has also evolved from one of our early survival instincts. We fear loneliness because it is more likely that we would survive if we live in group. The fear of the unknown is easily explained like this. The mind tells us that in order to move forward, we must know what is waiting for us there. Because if I know, then I can control the situation. And if I don't know, then I am not in control. Many of us, when we were kids, were afraid of the dark, no? Because we didn't know what might be hiding in there. And similarly, we felt the urge to pull ourselves away from the end of the corridor just because we don't know what might be lurking in there. This feeling of the unknown often stops our progress and makes it harder for us to discover and understand new things, encouraging rejection and closed mindedness. But in the positive side, we have fear in there to protect us. It makes us alert to danger and prepares us to deal with it. It can be like a warning, a signal that cautions us to be careful. Just like what we have right now, the pandemic. When we all have been told that a case had already entered in our areas, we have felt fear. Fear of being infected, fear of getting the virus. And because of that, we are all very cautious, and as much as possible, we all stayed at home. But when fear overwhelms us to the point of giving us anxieties, panic attacks, so that's the time we must learn how to manage our fears. And it's a good thing that I will discuss to you some of the tips that we can manage our fears, or in managing our fears. First, face your fear if you can. If you always avoid situations that scares you, you might stop doing things that you want or need to do, and you won't be able to test out whether the situation is always as bad as you expect. Second, know yourself. Try to learn more about fear or anxiety. Keep a record of when it happens and what happens. Third, sit back and relax. Learning relaxation techniques can help you with the mental and physical feelings of fear. Fourth, exercise. Take more physical exercise. This can trigger brain chemicals that improve your mood. Fifth, faith or spirituality. If you are religious or spiritual, this can help you feel connected to something bigger than yourself. Now, it can provide a way of coping with everyday stress. Church and other faith groups can be a valuable support network. And this is indeed very true. Now, during those first phase of COVID pandemic, whenever I am outside and get around with other people, I couldn't help thinking, what if I got the virus? What if I got infected? Huh? And the more I think of that fear, the more sick I become. And that is why I am so thankful that I belong to a church group, because they were there to remind me that I should never be afraid, because God is in control. Right? In conclusion, in a society that emphasizes the value of being strong and fearless, it's easy to dismiss or deny our anxieties, even to ourselves. But you can't have the courage if you're afraid to face your fears. By owning your feelings, you've taken the first step toward gaining control over the situation. It will all be managed and dominated by us. Now here's my references, and thank you for listening.